Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Street Power. On this episode, we've got our 1970 Z28 Camaro. It's got a 496 big block Chevrolet in it with an 871 blower and a sniff of nitrous. Alright, today we're talking about the oil system and oil pressure. Alright, what we want to do with this car, we're trying to make this more streetable where we can drive it to the street but still use track use also. So what we're going to do on this episode is we're going to get our oil pressure stabilized when it's hot. It's somewhere above 10 pounds of pressure with using oil viscosity. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to install an oil cooler and a remote oil filter assembly to make it easier for us to swap. When you have full length headers, sometimes it can be a challenge to swap oil filters. Alright, that's what we got on this episode of Street Power. Stay tuned. Oh yeah, maybe we can slide one in there. Ooh, that sounded dirty.
We can get it in there. Let's just gonna get this fan out.
Alright, we're live, so
Okay. So no cut.
Oh no, it's fine. I think that's all now. Oh, I did get got these little things the other day.
Maybe I can hide my bald spot underneath the steering rack.
You gotta hold it, man. You gotta hold that ball spot. Way easier.
Yeah, it wasn't going through rubber.
Yeah. When you use rubber, different results.
Much easier without a rubber.
Alright, so now there's no reason why we can't walk the radiator back a little bit, right?
Other than the radiator hoses, I mean, they're pretty stiff. They should be able to tilt. That one gonna give you enough to tilt.
Something else. It may be the hose.
It does, it feels like it's something else.
Well, it is hitting that. Yeah, that's what it is. It was hitting the bar there. Yeah, those hoses. Yeah.
Oh, it's wired.
Really?
These wires are holding that.
Do you think you can slide it out?
Nah, it's not gonna be close. It's barely. It ain't gonna go barely.
Alright. Well, this did expose the bolts enough. We can get to them now.
Okay.
If you want to just do that.
You would like a wrench or a socket?
A wrench for me, please, sir. That is the correct one. If I had one of those Harbor Freight battery powered ratchet deals, that would be kind of slick.
Trying to get sponsorship already?
No. I'm just kidding. I saw it yesterday, like, it reminded me. It was kind of nifty if it was like $100 and I was like, I like hand tools. Not trying to be cheap, but I like it. Yeah, that's the ones I prefer for my electric fans, so that makes them more reliable. The non-waterproof connect.
No, they'll pop right off. There's nothing bad to
Okay, cool. Sweet. Who needs cooling things when you got more room?
Yeah, these are airflow restricted. I don't know what they're talking about.
That's right. They were made to keep this radiator down.
They should be the same bolt size.
Okay. Pressing the radiator. Let's see, these are carriage bolts they got on this. It's ideal for not using.
Locking up.
Or a wrench on this side. But I'm using my finger because it's still wanting to slide a little bit.
At least they use nice little rubber washers.
Oh, they did, yeah. Nylon too in there a little bit. I thought so.
And they got a nice spare fan.
Try a be cool, man. Not a be hot.
Yeah, they make computer parts for water cooling.
Be cool does?
Yeah.
Huh. That's surprising.
I didn't know that.
I mean, it makes sense, but never thought that would have been the case. Is that what Locha bought?
I don't think so.
He bought the Taiwanese. Everything's made in Taiwanese anyway. Anybody need a clone fan? That should be, that's the blinging. You got bling? I'll put it on the orange truck. Kind of a joke. Get this right in. It ain't going from the bottom. No. Maybe ain't going from the top. It's not as wide as that. But I could just take the fan off.
Yeah.
That's true. True.
Now, how are you going to mount it? Just like your radiator like the other one was?
No, I don't want to do that. I hate that shit when the people do that. Let's see if we can get it in there first. It's gonna be sketchy. Oh yeah, this one is the one. Because this one barely fits.
That's the one we're using.
Yep, this is the one we're using. Hell, it fits. Oh, well, I don't know if it fits, but it's close. Let's see if it fits. Hell yeah, man. Every day of the week, I'll take that.
Built headers that you physically can't take off.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because they wrap around the frame rail.
Yeah, the good thing headers really never go bad. Well, thank goodness they ceramic coated them, you know, so they wouldn't rust out. They'll last a long time. It play hell like if you wanted to swap the combination in your car, you know, like something else. And,
you got bolts on that?
I got one bolt. Yeah, you can release it. I'm sorry. You'd have to cut the headers off, and then you're like Well, I gotta put headers on. I better break out the welder. What the hell?
You still haven't changed oil in your truck, have you? Speaking of things you planned for.
I know. I told Christy that I'd be doing it this weekend. But thank you for reminding me how terrible I am. It's not exciting. I mean, it's a necessity, but it's not exciting.
It'll be exciting if you don't do it. You're driving down the street. Oh, I'm not driving down the street anymore.
Exciting. Yeah, with a loud bang.
Yeah. Where'd my oil pressure go?
Or just smoking in general.
Have you even shot nitrous in this thing yet?
Hell no. And I ain't even put boost on the motor yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, the maiden voyage, when I drove it down the road,
When you were buying it?
But what, 2 miles maybe, or, you know, so, and then I was smelling of something, and it ended up being the brakes, you know, burning themselves up. Because the extensive knowledge of the brake system that whoever had when they put the disc brakes on, they didn't have the right relief valve, or not relief valve,
whatever that thing is.
residual pressure valve. Yeah. So, and then it's been basically here ever since. Alright, so the oil cooler is in its final resting place. We got our fittings installed with our switch there. And we're going to move on to doing some plumbing and installing other components.
We gotta get this car on the road today, right?
On the road? I hope so. I hope that, I mean, you'll have to drive.
What a shame.
I mean, I'd hate to force you into it, you know, but. Alright, so next step, you're going to put these right here, and they're going to just screw right in. No big deal. Just make sure that you get the shorter end goes inside, and then the longer end is up here. Alright, next you're going to put your fittings on. Make sure you use Teflon tape here and tighten them up. And make sure that you pay attention to the arrows. So. Alright, so we started our template. We've got it in place. We've got one screw in. Alright, so the camera proved too difficult to get around, so this is what you're getting. Alright, so we've got it installed. This is the filter mount, and you can see the bolts are installed. There's 3, and they go right into the firewall on our application. And the inner fender well on the driver's side.
See him right next to the long enough? I don't know if it will. I'll come down this way.
Sticker.
Oh, I apologize. I let you run out of time.
You've been so good all to that.
You can drop like that.
Yeah, that's right. You are forgiven. You don't get, wait, you get paid. But, yeah, you did. Good job. Good job. You did it, man. You got it. So why I even ask you? There you go. Yeah, that plugged on up. Give me a second and a bird.
Well, I do have to go to work again in like 3 days, so
Gotta hurry up.
yeah, I gotta hurry up.
Alright. Let me get on the other ladder so I don't fall in my ass.
Two of the screws are right there. The other one's there. What is it?
Number 3. Lucky number 3. Hey, you remember that line on the Fast and Furious movie? On the first one when Paul Walker comes up and he's talking to Toretto, and he brings that Supra to the garage, and then the Toretto goes, if you can't find the tool in this garage, you know, something like you don't need to be around a car or something.
Yeah.
If you can't find a tool in this garage, you probably haven't looked hard enough yet. Should be here, but no freaking
Alright, the
telling.
only pieces we got left are from the old fan. That's a good thing.
I like having extra parts. They did a good job, man. That shit was fancy.
Does it really?
Well, even with the hose clamp, you know, I mean, kind of knocks it down to like trailer park fancy, but still fancy. Well, it still does, like the way that it's set up. It looks fancy to me, y'all. Got 10 pounds. We're good. Showing about 32 right now, but it is building. Alright, so this is the second startup after the initial fire up, and we checked for leaks and had to get all the air out of the system. And here we go. So we're going to see if it will maintain temperature or maintain oil pressure once the oil gets up to temperature after the install of the oil cooler and oil filter relocation kit. Weird. Huh. Okay. Might be out of fuel, I don't know. Alright, so this is take 3. We actually ran out of gas, so we're going to go at it again, see if we can make sure that all our stuff's operating properly and our upgrades made a difference. Alright, so we've drained our oil out. Now it's time to put it back in. Alright, so what we've got is this Valvoline's racing oil. It's VR1, it's 50 weight. It's got high zinc content, and that's for anti-wear. Now, it doesn't matter what brand you go with, as long as it's a good one. You definitely want to spend the money on your oil and oil filter. That's the life of the motor. So. What did we learn? What we learned was that we added increased capacity to our oil system. We added an oil cooler, and we added a remote filter assembly. In ours, we had 2 oil filters, which actually added an extra little bit of capacity. Alright, but most systems it'd be probably 1 filter. Alright, so that probably added 2 quarts of capacity. Alright, so what that did was we took a already advertised 8-quart system in our oil pan, which different engines will be different, and then we added probably about 2 quarts worth of with our 2 oil filters, and then by the time the hoses and the oil cooler. So with that, what we did was we took all our oil contaminants that would come in the regular combustion of, say, X amount of miles, 1,000 miles, say, or 3,000 miles. All those oil contaminants that would be confined in our normal, just the engine itself, no oil cooler or filter assembly, and that would be in that, which would say, with our test, say 8 quarts. Alright, now we've spread them across 10 quarts. So all that contamination is spread across 10 quarts. That'd be like drinking orange juice from concentrate or orange juice and ready to drink. Alright, which one's more bitter? You can't hardly drink that from concentrate, but over here, the regular orange juice, you can. That's the difference. Alright, so think about that. All that stuff is tearing your motor up while it's sitting there running. You don't like that, do you? Sounds pretty good to add more capacity. So that's what we learned right there. And the other things that benefit us from that was it took longer for the oil temperature or the oil pressure to drop. Alright, so that means that it'll be less drastic, the changes in the system. Alright, the other thing is with our oil cooler, we added an oil fan. It was all part of one assembly. It's a derail. So it all comes in one thing. You can run that off a thermostat, you can run it off a switch, your choice. Alright, the other thing was with the oil filter, that helped us tremendously. With our remote oil filter for our application, our oil filter originally was a tiny, I don't even call it a teacup, but it may have measured 3 inches at the most. And that's for 496 cubic inches of big block Chevrolet. Unbelievable, right? But that's the way it was. The way the headers were designed, you could barely get that tiny oil filter out. Unacceptable. Alright, we bought the car like that. We didn't like it, so we changed it. And I expect you to do the same. If you see things like that on your car, right there, you've got X amount of money in it from buying all that. I mean, this upgrade probably cost less than $300, and that's being just like if you spent all out. Alright, so $300 versus destroying your whole investment for having a little tiny oil filter. I mean, come on. So, and I'm not going to change it every 1,000 miles. You see what I'm saying? So, definitely. So we added 2 filters, which doesn't mean that we're going to get like 6, 8, 10,000 miles or anything like that. But for the amount of money, you got to think think about your application, think how much room you have in your engine compartment. All these things make a difference. So always be thinking and think the oil system is the life of the engine. Why not give it more credit, right? You can make piles of horsepower, 1,000 horsepower, and destroy the engine because of $10 worth of parts, or $200 of parts, or just, you know what I mean? Like, so just think about it that way. And then the other thing, we changed our oil viscosity. Our oil viscosity was started at 15W50. All right, now that was Mobil 1, 15W50, and it's a fine oil, no big deal, right? But it wasn't right really for our application. We went with a 50, straight 50, and that was a Valvoline VR1. And now it gave us better cold start pressure. At the end, it may have gave us 3 or 4 more pounds of actual oil pressure by the time it warmed up. But viscosity is a big deal. All right, so you got to think about viscosity as in the age of the engine, or if somebody, like it's a race engine, is the clearances that were put into the engine. All right, now our setup would have been fine if you were just a drag strip kind of guy. But at Street Power, we like to drive our cars. So we want to drive our car and not have to really worry about oil pressure too much. You know, like, you know, it gets hot and stuff. When you're at drag strip, you know, the cars, you know, by the time you get back, you make one run, you know, and then you let the car sit for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then you crank it back up and do another run. You don't run into these issues. But if you drive all the time on the street, you have to do the things like we did. The oil cooler, it adds weight, but it protects your investment. The increased oil capacity, it adds weight, but it protects your investment. Our remote oil filter, it adds a little bit of weight, but it protects our investment. With the more filters we have, and the deeper the filter, actually the bigger the filter could be. And also, it actually helped us in our application. So you've got to think about it on a vehicle-to-vehicle basis, but definitely remember, oil is the life of the engine. So here at Street Power, thanking you for watching our video. Have a good evening.